Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Dog Benfica Podcast. I know we were out. Well, I was out last week, so we're here to make it up for you. Steve Santos is here, and Cristiano Oliveira is also here, as always. What's going on, fellas?
Welcome back, Alfredo. I have to say you made me quite jealous while you were away, sending me pictures of all the wonderful food you were eating, but it's nice to have you back. Nice to see you on camera. Let's get another podcast going.
I made it to that transatlantic flight. I got to be honest. I haven't flown TAP in a while, and it was a horrible experience.
What, really? I love TAP, dude. I'm surprised you say that.
Yeah.
I've never really had bad experience on TAP, with the exception, I'll be honest about this, and if anyone has ever flown for TAP, they know exactly what I'm about to say, which is that they are very rude. But besides that, the flights have always been pretty good.
I thought the plane that I was in was old.
What, the Pita, the Nina, the Santa Maria? Which one was it?
Well, Augusto Manel.
Augusto Manel.
All right, guys. On tonight's edition, episode number 178, we'll look back at the Tondela game, which seems like ages ago. We'll also look at the Galatasaray game, which I was at, and we'll look at this very last game that Benfica played against Boavista this past weekend. I know that some of you, all of you guys probably don't remember many of the older games, so we're just trying to keep it to some points that I wanted to bring up, and then I wanted to bounce off of you guys, see what your opinion is. So let's get right into the Tondela. I'll give you the lineup. Júlio César, Clésio, Luizão, Jardel, Silvio on the left. Clésio was on the right. Samaris and Talisca in the middle. Guedes, Jonas, Jimenez, and Gaetan were up front. Steve, let me ask you this. We found out that Clésio had been working out as a right back for a couple of weeks now with the main team. But really, with Almeida on the bench, do you really want to bring Clésio with Almeida being able to play on the right?
I don't. That was sending somebody a message. Whether it was Silvio, whether it was Eliseu or Almeida, I'm not sure. But the bits we saw of Clésio, there's nothing there to make you think, oh my God, we got something here. This guy's gonna be a good right back. There's nothing. And what confuses me even more is why Clésio? If you're gonna go down to the B team looking for a right back because you're not happy with what you have, why are you converting a guy who normally plays up front, who last year was what is that, the USL he was playing in last year? If I remember right, something like that. He was on loan somewhere in the States, and it wasn't an MLS team. You guys can figure that out because you're more aware of it.
No, it was like the 4th, 5th division.
Something like that.
I wasn't even aware of that, so thanks.
But
yeah, he played. He was there on a very minor. It's like you got the MLS, NASL, USISL, and then whatever it is.
Elisa.
That's where he was at. Elisa, they took it apart. But quase.
So you go stretching at this guy when you have a guy who played the under 21 Euros as a right back. Even though I will agree with Rui if this is what he thinks. He likes Lindelof better as a center back than a right back. But come on, what sense does that make?
Here's the question though. He comes up, shocks us all because for most of us that had no idea, had no clue that this kid even existed, right? With the very little that we knew he was a striker. Then he comes in, he starts at right back, and let's be honest, he wasn't terrible. He did his job fine, and then he doesn't get a call up the very next game again, or the game.
Well, he got hurt.
Like, what? Oh, so you already got hurt?
Yeah, he got
hurt in that match. You already forgot.
That's
right. He was subbed down like 76 minutes. Yes. But that was it. My man gave his 76 minutes, and it was he totally shot the Benfica right back.
Hey, Cristiano, you know who's watching us? Oh, my friend Rodolfo. We were at his house. He gave you a bag of ice, remember?
Oh, Rodolfo, como é que é, pá? Tudo bem? Obrigado. And the charger. I remember I had to charge my phone like crazy. Yes, thank you.
Big shout out to my friend, my good friend Rodolfo, who hooked me up while I was there. Rodolfo, abraço. Anyway, Cristiano, for nothing the result, but really it's a result that's kind of like that puts the blindfolds on some of the fans because there's still a lot wrong with this team.
Bro, I say that every chance, every chance I get to talk to you and Steve on the air, off the air. I mean, we were just talking about this earlier today. which is the one thing that really has me, throw me for a loop here with the fans and stuff like that. There's a lot of people just get blinded by some of these performances against these lesser teams. Yes, it's impressive performances, 4-0 in any leagues, but come on, you really have to pay attention to your competition. You have to look at your adversaries, and it's exactly what we expect. I mean, we don't expect anything else from this Benfica team, even though we all think that they're not very deep and you can compare them to teams of the previous years, but it's still a result that we all anticipate. It's a result that we all expect. And so, yeah, it's nice to get it, but let's not act like all is healed, everything is proper, the team is clicking on all cylinders. This is a team that's going to challenge for even for the title in the Portuguese league, because it's not, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot wrong that we see here, and I hate to come on. I think I say this now on a weekly basis, which is I hate to come on the podcast here and criticize Benfica even after a win, but it's just, like I say often, I call a spade, and it's what I see. So all in all, yeah, 4-0 victory, great. Let's keep moving on. But I want to see improvements. I want to see this team start to play in the caliber of football that we all, pretty much fans of, a caliber of football that we're proud of to play. And right now, I'm not sure that's the football that's being played.
Yeah, but we also had talked about it on the run up to the game, that we were looking for a result that would at least boost up a little bit of the confidence after coming off 2 straight losses. So it was an ideal result to get. Nonetheless, it was something. It's like when you're super hungry and you throw down a half a popsicle in your stomach. Só para
esconder, só para tapar os olhos. Usually, quando era pequeno, mamãe me dizia, estás com fome? Tô, vai dormir, que a fome passa. You know what I mean?
So it was kind of like that, but nonetheless, I thought it was a good game, especially playing away where we've had so many difficulties this year. I thought it was pretty good that we were able to get the result. I think 4-0, we were extremely effective with the 4 goals. The first time that we went down to their box, Jonas scores that header. Then we have that Jonas cross that the guy just half volleyed into their net. It worked out. I thought that there's a lot of games where things can go wrong for you, and I thought this game was perfect and everything went right for us. We couldn't do no wrong with this game.
It was the perfect game to come back after those 2 losses, like you said. I'm with Chris.
Steve,
the football is still not convincing. We're still poor, really, really poor at creating chances. But that is the result that we needed. We needed a goleada, basically, to come back from 2 less than stellar performances. I'm not going to say that I don't think the players actually believe they're playing good football. I mean, if you watch Samaris playing the last few matches, I know he didn't play when you were there, Alfredo, but he's constantly got his hands up in the air because he's got nobody to pass the ball to. It's like he's playing on an island all by himself. Everyone's running away from him. The players must know that they're not playing well. They could say whatever they want in the press, but they have to know.
Well, hey, Steve, here's the thing. You said it was the perfect game to come back after the 2 losses. My question to you is, was it a perfect game or was it the perfect adversary?
Well, it's the perfect game because it was the perfect adversary. Okay. It was an easy win. It gave you the 4 easy goals that we didn't create too many chances, so it's not like we could have scored 8 or 9. It was the perfect game and adversary. It just fell in the right place because had we came to play a tougher opposition, just maybe a Passos or somebody like that, it would have been a lot more difficult than going to Tondela or going to Aveiro to play Tondela again, and getting a good result like that.
I know what you meant. I was just asking a question so you could clarify for those at home that might not know what you had meant. So
thank you, sir.
Yeah. I thought it was a good game, especially I think that if it was a game where we had struggled and maybe have not gotten the result, I think that all of a sudden, not that there aren't already, but there will be some doubts with this team, especially on the run-up to the Galatasaray game, which was a very crucial game for our aspirations to fill our pockets with more money in the Champions League. I'm not saying a Champions League trophy is in our horizon. Well, you never know.
Those are some pretty crazy odds, man. I'd like to know. You know how the betting sites always have the odds. I'd love to know what Benfica's odds are to win the Champions League. I'm sure one of our listeners will get onto that and let us know.
It's easy. Go to Vegas.com.
Yeah, I'm not much of a gambler.
Vegas odds. Yeah, okay.
I think right now you'd probably have a better chance to go into the Bairro Alto and find Tarap to win the boots than to win the Champions League.
Absolutely.
Here we go. Always bringing my boy Tarap and trying to be negative on my boy Tarap. Always. I don't get it. I'm gonna get Tarap on the podcast one of these days. Get you all in line.
Let's bounce right up to the Galatasaray game, and I gotta say I was present at the game. I had the pleasure of meeting one of our loyalists, probably longest fans of the history of the podcast, and I'm talking about Peggy. As you guys know, Peggy was in Portugal from Australia spending some time, and it worked out that we were able to get together. I also have to say that I met João Gomes right before the game, and João Gomes, as you guys know, is somebody that's in Portugal and he stays up. I asked him, how do you stay up to watch the pod or to listen to the pod? And he says he puts the alarm on.
Expresso.
Wow.
Expresso pra carago. And one thing, Fred, I just want to say this about Peggy, man. He's a great dude, and in my eyes, okay, he is not a listener, he's not a fan, he's not a supporter. Peggy is part of the podcast today. He is part of the familia.
Yeah.
I was just mad. I know Steve felt the same way, man. We talked a couple of times while you guys were out there in Portugal, and I tried to get Steve to meet me at Newark Airport so we could jump on a flight and go meet you guys, because we were jealous that you had the pleasure of meeting that clown before we ever got to meet him.
Yeah, I actually gave Peggy the very first notebook that I used when I first started doing the podcasts as a almost like an honorary thing, and like I wanted to present that because he means that much to the podcast. Not that all of you fans don't mean anything. All of you mean a lot.
Listeners, man, listeners.
Well, fans and listeners and viewers, all you guys mean a lot. But and we appreciate all of you. But Peggy, and you all know, Peggy's an excellent person, and he does wonders for the podcast. Publicizing it and advertising it out there. So we're very grateful to have fans like Peggy and like many other of you.
For sure.
You're getting me teary-eyed right now, man. You're my boy, Blue. I love you, man.
Yeah, so I met up with Peggy, his cousin. His brother was also there, and then João Gomes was there. My dad was with us. We had a great time. Then after the game, we met up again briefly. And, it was a great time.
Did you meet up with JJ? Did you meet up with JJ?
Not with JJ.
JJ wasn't there?
Yeah, JJ was too busy working on his defense for his court appearance.
Yeah, which I think you should elaborate on that. Benfica and JJ, for those of you that are listening, trying to refer to whatever the hell that Alfredo's saying, they had a court meeting and they did not come to any type of settlement regarding his departure from Benfica and having taken a job at Sporting earlier than, before his contract terminated with Benfica. And so now they have to go to court, I believe in June something. Yeah. June 26th, if I'm not mistaken. So they did not come to a settlement, so they have to go to court next year to try to settle this out.
Yeah, and Neil is participating. He's saying that Benfica has 50-1 odds of winning the Champions League.
50-1? I would think they would be higher. But
that's not too bad.
That's not too bad. Bet $100, you get, what's that?
50,000? No. When I said higher, meaning like 500-1 . I'm thinking like 500-1. That's what I mean. I'm not talking about. I would think they were higher. Not as 50. 50's not. That's not terrible. Jesus.
Well, considering that Benfica has a good chance of going on to the next round, then you got 16 teams. So 50-1 out of those 16 teams, that's not too bad.
Nope. Well, I mean, I guess those are the odds now. I was probably thinking about more so the odds before Champions League started. I would like to think they're much higher than that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get right into that.
Not bad.
Let's get right into that game. Júlio César, Silvio was back at right back. He had played left back against Tondela, as we've mentioned. Luizão Jardel and Eliseu across the back. Eliseu back to his familiar left back position. Almeida and Talisca. Of course, Samaris was serving a one-game suspension, so Almeida jumped in there. Talisca was in front of him. Guedes and Gaetan on the wings. Jonas and Jimenez were up front. Steve, Talisca seems to be after the. I don't want to say let down, but some of the poor performances by Andre Almeida and those 2 losses of ours, do you feel that Talisca is kind of like inching his way into the starting lineup to being a staple in the starting lineup?
Um, I'd have to say he's played the most he's played the last few matches. I don't know if he's a shoe-in yet. I don't think he's really impressed that much. Personally, I've never been a fan. I just don't. What I do see in Talisca, that the way Rui Vitória seems to really like to play the crossfield switches and be direct, it suits Talisca's game. But I just honestly I look at Talisca and then I look at somebody like Renato Sanchez, and I don't think Renato would do a much worse job than Talisca. The only thing that would worry me about playing Renato is he's young. If he has a couple bad performances and we kind of burn his confidence, and then you wreck a player quite young in a very important position like that, it's likely to happen. But in terms of actual quality, I don't think he'd be losing anything in quality by playing him. I really don't. For me, we've said it time and time again, 8s are probably our weakest position. The way that Rui Vitória has been setting up the team this year, it's making it even more apparent, because it's almost like it's not an 8. It's almost like we're playing with 2 6s side by side at times, and it's getting quite difficult to find somebody who will play the ball forward and not be scared to find Jonas in between lines, because sometimes you're watching the game and you think, yeah, Jonas is tightly marked and he's in tight areas, but Jonas has good feet. He's got good touch. So if you just had somebody who had maybe the confidence or the ability to find him in those tight areas, we might be able to play a little bit better football too, right? So there is obvious flaws in the way we're lining up on the pitch and whatnot, but I think if there's one position that we could get a good improvement on and it would make us play a lot better, it would be the number 8 spot. I know we have some faults at the fullbacks as well, but number 8 would be the biggest one for me.
Steve, I told you earlier I had something to tell you regarding the game, and which was if you noticed something, and that's the one thing I know you just brought it up, that Benfica really not playing with an 8 at the moment. I think they're playing with the 2 guys side by side, and I've noticed Samaras off to the right and Talisca off to the left, but more often than not, they are playing side by side. I don't see that number 8 being being played right now by Rui Vitória. And the one thing I have to say about Talisca is he hasn't impressed me, but he's played a lot better than he was at the end of last season, even at the beginning of this season. He's really not forcing it. He just, he's doing a very good job of spreading the ball around as much as he can. So I think he's improving that aspect of his game, because last year the guy couldn't make a lateral pass and put a gun to his head. So I think he's gotten a lot better. Yes, still not to the standard or the level that we expect from a Benfica player playing that position, but I think he has played better. I have to give him that.
Yeah. No, I have to agree with you, Chris. I think that his instructions are to get the ball and to move the ball, get rid of the ball quick, keep it moving, and off. When you play in a position that he used to play, obviously your first instinct is to look forward, and now it looks like that he's looking sideways, he's seeing which guy is open, and he's looking to change the point of attack, which can often catch a team off balance when you switch the wings that fast. So I'm kind of enjoying it. I don't think he's the guy that we need at the 8 spot. I think that Renato Sanches can do better, but I do think that they're being very, very careful phasing in Renato Sanches. I think that by the end of the season, he may get a lot of starts, but at this point, it's still premature.
Still very young, man. Still very young. And when you get up to this level, you're playing against men. I know he's playing against men in the 2nd division, but this is totally different class of game, a totally different speed of what the kid's accustomed to. So, I couldn't tell you one way or another if he should start right now or if he shouldn't. I have to be honest. I haven't seen the guy play much. So I understand them taking him slowly.
Yeah, and I thought that Benfica didn't play that well of a first half. There was a clear change of posture by Galatasaray in this game. Obviously, they weren't as pressing as they were in Turkey. They were playing home, and they knew they needed to press Benfica. They were just sitting back and allowing Benfica. And I think that Benfica currently they struggle to play against teams that sit back and just defend the space. From being in the stadium, it was clear that when Benfica got to that final third, everything froze. There was no options. There was no movement up front, and oftentimes they would just play the ball back. And if it hadn't been for the individual efforts of Gaetan and sometimes Gedge, I think that we would have had a really hard time.
For sure. It's funny when you say about things reaching the final third and they have to go back, or we lose possession of the ball. I really don't like taking shots at players that often, but Jimenez has been quite poor when it comes to actually keeping the ball and holding it up so that we could get players close to him, so as a support. But he's just been constantly losing the ball, poor touches, poor passing decisions. Yeah. I could see what Atletico wanted him for, because Simeone has a very high pressure, intense game, but with the way Jimenez does that for us, with nobody really backing him behind him, it doesn't really do much. The guy's just running around like a headless chicken for nothing, and he's not really capable of doing much with the ball when we have it too. I don't know if you want to segue that quickly to the next game, but the difference with Mitroglou to Jimenez in the build-up phase and just being able to play 1-2s and whatnot with Gedge, with Gaetan, with Jonas is like night and day. You can't compare.
Mitroglou doesn't have very good feet.
But he's got much better feet than him.
Escoita. And next to Jimenez, he looks like a... So that's what I was going to go with. The guy has no feet. His finishing ability, I thought, a lot better than what it is. And then on top of it, you throw all that and combine it with the fact that right now, absolutely no confidence. I mean, the guy, I'm surprised that he is getting start after start. I think that's what Rubí Torres is trying to do, trying to give him confidence by saying, look, man, we believe in you. We need you to turn this around. And maybe that will inject some confidence into him, the fact that he started 5 games in a row. But this is a guy that's gone 11 games without scoring a goal. And we're not talking about playing in the toughest league in the world. We're talking about playing in Portugal. You can't score a goal. With all the chances and the opportunity, the possession and the control that Benfica has, and you go 11 games without scoring a goal, I mean, come on, dude. I know some of you guys have been critical of me on Twitter because I haven't had much praise for the guy lately. But I can't help it. I anticipated this guy to be a much better player when Benfica went and bought him. I figured, okay, he scored 1 goal in 30-some appearances for Atletico, but you know what? Atletico, probably playing him off the bench 15 minutes a game. They have so many other options that this guy's not getting a look. But, bro, after seeing this, I totally understand. Totally understand why he didn't get much playing time.
Look, in watching the guy live and not having that perspective that you have when you're watching on TV, where usually the camera follows the ball, the guy works his ass off, and I think that right now he's perhaps a couple goals away from just raising his confidence and raising his playing level a couple notches. That's my feeling.
Well, Alfredo, I can't sit here and come in week after week and criticize Eder or Ederzinho, Eder Zotte, whatever you want to call this guy nowadays, in the World Cup, because he did absolutely nothing. Oh, my God, he came back and he caused a turnover that wound up being a goal. I can't criticize that guy for hustling on the defensive end and then sit here and praise Jimenez. I can't do that. To me, Jimenez was brought in to be a box striker, a guy, and he's just not doing a very good job.
Yeah.
And that's what I see.
Cristiano, I understand that, but sometimes you need that guy to work his ass off to shorten spaces between defenders so that your defensive transition can work.
Yeah.
I understand. Look, Lima did that, but Lima scored goals.
Exactly.
Right? I could understand a guy doing that. I understand the role that's necessary. I understand what's asked of that position, Alfredo. I'm not denying that. But to me is that I think you can still do all that and still at least create some scoring opportunities and show me that you have that in you. He doesn't show me that he has that in him.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything that leads me to believe that he has that in him. Okay, he hustles. Tremendous. Benfica could put a center back up there and tell him, chase the ball around, put pressure. And you know what? We'll be like, okay, we can expect Jardel, for example, to score and finish those balls. When you put a box, a legitimate number 9, a guy that's been a striker his whole career, he comes in as a highly touted player, I'm anticipating this guy to score some goals.
Yeah, he's tough. I think that right now he's perhaps in the same position as Talisca on his team, meaning we're not really sure where he's the most comfortable playing in. That's where my view of him. But he puts in a lot of work, and he's had opportunities. He's missed a few sitters, man. And for a striker, like you said, Chris, a guy that lives in the box and that lives off of goals, you got to put those away.
See, but I disagree with what you just said, though, when you said, like Talisca, we don't know where to play. No, he is playing at his position. He is a legit striker, a number 11, stay up top. That's what he's playing. Talisca, we kept toying him. Talisca, we all know he's more of a number 10 than he is anything else. We kept trying to force feed him. Once we brought Jonas in, there was no way Talisca was going to play that position anymore. So Jonas had to drop back into a position that he is most likely not familiar with, unlike Jimenez, who is playing his natural position.
I agree.
Right?
I agree with you on that. Maybe the system currently doesn't suit Jimenez's talents.
Possibly. I just find with Jimenez, you're expecting more movement behind the center backs. You don't get enough of it. I find that it seems like he's the one that's picking up the ball way more often in a spot where Jonas should be getting it, and Jonas is playing higher. I don't know if that's because they know that
because he hustles, Steve. It's because he hustles. He's constantly moving. That's where
it's either that or if they feel if they can get Jonas the ball up further up the pitch, he will actually be able to what in Portuguese you call temporizar. You could bring the ball down, you shield it, you allow Gaetan to get closer to you, and you can play football. Jimenez can't seem to do this. I don't know if
that's a bad job by the coaching staff. If that is indeed true, Steve, that's a terrible job by the coaching staff.
Chris,
we could all tell you that Jimenez doesn't have the feet for that.
Chris, I completely agree with you. Completely agree with you. And there's a lot of things that we can point at that we could say that that's a bad job by the coaching staff. I think Rui Vitoria is a fantastic person. He seems like a really nice guy, like I said a few days ago.
So was my grandfather, but he never coached Benfica.
But as a tactician, with each game that passes, I'm more and more disappointed in the man.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far as saying that I'm terribly disappointed.
I'm disappointed.
I wouldn't. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm disappointed. I wouldn't say I'm disappointed.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I'm disappointed.
You are always, of the three of us, you are always the most positive and the most optimistic.
Yeah, and you guys know that on the record, I really wanted Mark Silva above him.
We all did. I think.
After we announced him, then he's my coach.
Oh,
but I can't say that I'm disappointed. I think that a 6-year heritage of whatever he got from JJ, whatever, I think it's a huge thing to carry, and I think that right now he's just trying to just get out of that shadow.
Alfredo, that to me, I could see it weighing on him. I could see some of your points, Alfredo. But what Steve and I constantly complain about, bitch about week after week, has nothing to do with that. It's what we see on the field. It's the style of play. It's the lack of movement. Those things have nothing to do with JJ. The only thing that does with JJ is it shows how much better of a coach JJ was because he had that team moving and circling. They're all fine-tuned. You don't see that. This has nothing to do with any of that. This is strictly a coaching thing that Steve and I see. Right? And just like you say, he's my coach, I have to defend him. It's not like you have an ugly kid and you go have a choice to return your kid. You know what I mean? Your kid's ugly, you got to say he's beautiful. This is a coach you can fire or replace him. You know what I mean? It's totally different here.
But you also got to take into consideration that this is a guy that has played in a 4-3-3 all his life, and then all of a sudden he's playing a 4-4-2 because he doesn't really want to get away of the things that were done right.
So then he's a clown. Listen, it's either if he's a 4-3-3 coach, then it's a bad job by Luis Vieira for appointing him because this is a coach that right now Benfica don't have the players to fit a 4-3-3. So it's a bad hire, brother. Then if you tell me, okay, they hired him and whatever. So this coach needs to see that this is. So I just don't get it. So because of 4-3-3, that means there's no movement.
Chris,
that means like Steve says,
Chris. Slow down. Your phone can't keep up with how fast you're talking, dude. and for our Portuguese listeners, I don't think even that new phone, man. Not many can keep up with Cristiano Oliveira, that's for sure. Especially not no iPhone 6.
Estás com um speed do caraças, pá.
É, pá, o gajo está... That's the way Benfica needs to play. Like that. Com essa velocidade para romper essa merda toda.
So anyway, let's just get back to the game. So Benfica went ahead, Galatasaray came back, and then Benfica came back again. Just a short summary of what the game was basically. I think that after losing in Turkey, this is a result that we needed to get at home against Galatasaray in order to keep our aspirations open. And also the tie in Kazakhstan by Athletic Madrid. It opened the door tremendously for us. I mean, no matter what happens, if we lose the next couple games, we will be in Europe regardless, whether it's the Europa League or whether it's the Champions round of 16. We will be in Europe, but it was very important for Benfica to get this win.
It was huge. If you look at it, I think in terms of actual looking at the two games, it was a fair result. I mean, I think both games could have ended up as a draw and they would have been fair. So we, even though we were poor in Turkey, we lost 2-1. If we were superior to Galatasaray and Lisboa, it wasn't by much. So to split the games with a win at home each, I think was a pretty fair result. Now we have the difficult task of flying to Kazakhstan for, 19 hours and dealing with a plastic pitch and the cold. So it seems like a lot of teams are struggling to deal with that. Atletico being the second one now. So that's going to be actually a lot more important game than we thought it was going to be, I think, at this point.
Yeah, basically without pulling out the scientific calculator, Galatasaray would have to win the next couple games in order to surpass us, and obviously we would have to lose. And don't forget that Atletico also has to win the one or two of the next couple games that they have to play. So it kind of like plays into our favor here. Even if we lose the next couple games, whether it's in Kazakhstan or whether against Madrid and Lisbon. But it's working out in our favor. Fala.
If Atletico wins their next game, and if Atletico wins their next game and Benfica draws their next, they're both pretty much 10 points, and I don't believe. Obviously, Astana won't be able to get to that, and even Galatasaray won't be able to get to that because Atletico will have beaten them. So, yeah, if Atletico wins the next game, they're through. Benfica wins, they're through, and I think that's basically what's going to happen. Now, from this game,
Chris, you're cutting out.
You're cutting out a lot, dude. You're cutting out a lot.
Sounds like my internet back in the days.
Yeah, he went.
Yeah, I think we lost him. Yeah, I agree with him. If Atletico wins this next match and we win our next match, of course we're both through. It's done. But that's besides the point. Right now, I think what we have to do is just concentrate on getting better and go with that because it hasn't looked good so far yet.
Yeah. Hello, guys.
He's back.
What's up? You guys can hear me now?
Much better.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
lost my train of thought anyway.
No, you were discussing the results and the probabilities, and I think
yeah. The fact that obviously Astana is not a very good team, but at home they've been able to stifle Galatasaray and Atletico Madrid, hold both of those guys to a draw. So this last win at home against Galatasaray, at least it gives you the luxury of going out there and you could draw this game over there in Kazakhstan, and most likely you're still going to get through the group and advance. Because, like I said, one more point for them, I think, will be enough. And if if Atletico beats Galatasaray, Atletico gets 10 points, and that's it. Both teams will go through. No way that Galatasaray will be able to catch them with one game left. So, it was just very important 3 points.
Yeah.
Very, very important 3 points.
Yeah. One last topic I wanted to touch up on before we move on to the Boavista game, and then some Twitter questions. If you guys want to ask us some questions, hashtag Benfica Podcast on Twitter, and we'll look at them and answer them. But one last thing, this whole thing with Luizão, and it's actually something that if you're home and you're following the game on the internet and you're watching commentary and then you see the presser is something that you pick up on right away. This was something that as myself and my dad left the stadium, we got in the car, we turned on the radio, and we caught a little bit of Rui Vitoria's presser, where he was saying that Benfica needs to be respected. And then it came to find out that there was a guy, a prominent, I don't know, catedrático, I guess if you want to call it, one of these studious guys about football, that had said that Luizão estava acabado. And apparently this stuck in Luizão's mind. We scored the goal, pointed out to the respect badge on his shirt, and then Rui Vitória came out and said that this team needs to be respected. Steve, what is your feeling on the whole Luizão thing? 12 years is a lot, and to be just brushed under the carpet. And people, yeah, he does deserve the respect of the fans and the media.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we actually even mentioned it the podcast before he went to Portugal, or the one before that. Luizão has not deteriorated. Luizão's basically at the same level he's always been. He may have looked slower. He may have made a couple more mistakes, but without wanting to really get back to Rui Vitória or whatnot. But I believe that's more flaws in the system, because Luizão does not have pace. He hasn't had pace for probably his whole career. I don't ever remember him being very fast. Without a good system that really reduces spaces and pressurizes the ball, you're going to be caught for pace. You're going to be caught trying to do too many things. I mean, have you guys noticed how far up the pitch Luizão is trying to pinch the ball? Because it really, the understanding between the two central midfielders is not that good. So Samaris isn't really pinching the ball in the spots where you would expect a defensive midfielder to pick him up, and you see Luizão trying to anticipate balls like 10, 15 yards in advance and jumping in front of people, where that really isn't what he's supposed to be doing, especially at his age, especially with the skill set that he has. So you want Luizão to be more the commander at the back and placing people in the right spots, but he's out there putting out fires, which, yeah, he's a center back, but in the areas that he's been popping up to do this, it's not really for Luizão. The decline that you may think you're seeing, I'm very positive that I don't believe it's an actual decline. It's just a consequence of everything else that's going on around him. I mean, like you said, 12 years or 12 days, he deserves the respect. This is a guy who's put in 12 years of very good service, and a guy who really, he's the coach on the pitch. That's what it comes down to.
Man.
Relax, then.
I think what Steve said, he's right about everything he said. And I do agree that Luizão deserves respect. But with that said, I mean, let's be realistic here, man. Why is my coach paying attention to the press or anyone even in the club talking trash? You should have your players focused on the games. And for Luizão, I love you. It was great to see you do that whole respect thing. But again, why is he listening to anyone outside? He shouldn't be listening. And the other thing that really that just has me kind of questioning things, because let's keep in mind, Benfica is not Beta Mar. We thought it's stupid. Benfica is not a little club. You understand what I'm saying? So to me, every player should be held accountable for what they do on the pitch. And let's be honest, whether it's the system, whatever it may be, Luizão this year has not been playing at the same level he's played in previous years. To me, no one is above criticism. If you're not doing your job, you should be criticized. This is Benfica, for Christ's sake. This ain't a local club that you're paying a membership so you could play. So, To me, it's. I understand both parts, both sides, and I understand Luizão should get respect. But if you're not doing what we expect of you, you're not above anyone else. You're going to get criticized. And if you're not doing your job, you're going to be replaced by someone that will do your job. This is Benfica. We expect nothing but the best at this club.
Yeah, those are very valid points, Chris. And you know what? That thing about actually paying attention to what the media is saying and whatnot is a very good insight, I think, to maybe what's going on at the club. I think football's a very mental and emotional game, and I think there's probably there's scars left with the way JJ left and the way the team's performing that aren't just just what you're seeing on the pitch. It's not just that, okay, the team doesn't support the ball carrier. Okay, we're not keeping our defensive shape well and all that together. I think there's more to it that I think with Alfredo a couple of weeks ago saying that Rui Vitoria and the team probably have a monkey that's shaped like JJ on their back. I think there's a lot to that. It's not just tactics at this point. There's probably a lot more to it.
Yeah, but Chris, I disagree when you say that Vitoria shouldn't have come out. I think that the same way the players come out and support the coach or give words of praise to the coach while the team is struggling, and there's a huge looking glass on the coach. I think the coach did his job. He comes out, he protects the team, and he asks for respect for the team and all of his players.
Alfredo.
He said from Luis Felipe Vieira to the lady that makes our called Verde Sopa, everyone connected to the Benfica as an entity should be respected.
But Alfredo, when the players come out and give words of support for their managers, basically because they're having bad results, it's on-field stuff. It's not because some reporter. It doesn't work like that. To me, you shouldn't pay attention because the media's trying to do their job, whether it's good or bad, criticizing you or praising you. I don't see Rui Vitoria coming out thanking the media when they praise him, when they praise Luizão. You know what I'm saying? So don't pay attention to it. Let it be. Just let it go. You know what? You tell Luizão. And I mean, I can't believe that I'm saying this. These are things that go on in every locker room. Yo, what happens in here is what matters. It's not what happens outside has no meaning. What has no effect to what we should be doing on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
To me, if you're paying attention to the media, man, there's something wrong. Whether it's praising or criticizing you, Rui Vitoria, even Luizão, who I do believe deserves respect for what he's done, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you were great for 12 years. There is, we're not just going to hand you a starting 11 spot because you were great for the past 12 years. I mean, these guys have to be accountable at Benfica.
I thought that Rui Vitoria did a good job putting it out there, just setting the tone.
I mean, listen, man. I disagree with it, man. I don't know. It's cool, but when this team is winning and everything's cool, you want to. But right now, there's so many other things that we just came out and got spanked by Sporting, and this is what you're paying attention to. You know what I mean? Like, Pitts has on-field problems.
Oh, he wants to keep the unity inside the locker room.
Well, you keep it by getting your team and that mentality. It's us against the world, man. No matter what everybody else outside says, it's about us. It's about what we do. It's about the sacrifices that we do. It's about what we do for each other, support each other, play for one another on the field. We're a family.
Chris, I think that's what Rui Vitoria was doing with those words. I think that's probably the mentality that he's trying to achieve.
Yeah, I think that if there was a concerted effort of Luizão in showing and pointing to the badge of respect, I think that this was something that affected the team mentally, and I thought that for the leader of the team to come out and defend the team that Rui Vitoria is, I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was a great move.
So now Rui Vitoria is going to come out and defend the team every time any member of the club is criticized in the public.
No, but he set the tone, saying that the club deserves respect. Whether it's the guy at the top or the lady at the bottom, the club should be respected.
I think that's more of a job for a president than a coach. I don't know. I guess we'll agree to disagree. I don't know. My coach, I want to focus on the real quick. Going back to the Galatasaray game.
Yeah.
Was that the game? Because we haven't done a podcast in a minute here. But was that the game that Jimenez gets the ball in the box in the 6 by himself in front of goal and he tap it away Muslera did a great save, but that was the game, correct?
Yeah. And the other one off the free kick, the Gaetan free kick under the wall, and Jimenez is standing at the end of the wall and he turns around and he couldn't put it away either. Yeah, those were two blatant chances that he couldn't put away.
Okay, just wanted to ask.
All right, turning our attention to the Boavista game now, and I'll give you the lineup. Silvio, Luizão, Jardel, and Lilizeu. Of course, Samaris and Talisca, Guedes, Jonas, Jimenez, and Gaetan. Nothing new here. It seems that Rui Vitoria has almost found a prototypical lineup here with with either one guy being out or being hurt or suspended or what may you. But Steve, do you feel that this is the strongest lineup right now?
That's a difficult question for me to answer. You're gonna hate me, but for the way I believe football should be played and the way I like to see it being played, Pizzi's my 8, and that's what it comes down to. So no, for me that's not our strongest 11. For Rui Vitória and the way he likes to play football, it might be. We'll have to see, but definitely not with. I don't think Jimenez is a better center forward than Mitroglou.
So Mitroglou is not much better.
Here's a question.
A little better.
But he uses the ball a lot better. I think we've had this exact conversation earlier in the season, and it's funny. You look at it a few games down the road, and it's still the same thing. Mitroglou, you play a ball into Mitroglou, it doesn't come back off like it. You
doesn't bounce off him.
It doesn't bounce off of him and go away. You don't lose it. With Jimenez, it's all fire and guts, but there's no subtlety. Jimenez, Mitroglou he's a little bit big. He's a little bit awkward, but he's got more touch. He's got more awareness of what's around him. We've already said this, but for me, it's a no-brainer.
He's got a much better touch. It's not even a question. No. Here's a question though. Here's a question, and I know Marco, our good friend Marco Lopes, right? I think that's his name, right? Marco Lopes. He asked this on a conversation that we had off the air and stuff like that. And we've spoken about this. So, but I'll ask it here on the pod. What happens when Salvio comes back? Does Guedes? I mean, what happens to Guedes? Does he stay as a starter right now? You bring Salvio off the bench. Do you? Hold on, because it's like a 3-part question. Do you do what Marco's asked? Maybe you know the fact that we don't have 2 strikers right now that are lighting things up on fire. Do you give Guedes, because suppose he was a striker before, do you give him a run up top? Or this one, I just came up with this one. Or do you put Guedes on the left, you put Salvio on the right, and you move Gaitan to the middle?
And
those are all very valid options. I think Gaitan played a little bit in the middle versus Boavista just now. The whole Guedes thing, I like it personally. I like mobile 9s, guys who run behind the defenders, guys who offer you that verticality that you need, somebody who will stretch the field in that direction as well, not just wide the way we're doing it right now. I like it. I think even in the Boavista game, you saw a lot of movements from Guedes running into the center forward channel, which I was actually quite pleased by. Mm-hmm. For me, I would try it personally.
Guedes played a lot on the left. He played a lot on the left against Boavista, he was able to cut in with his right foot, a la Ronaldo. I'm not comparing to Ronaldo, ladies and gentlemen. That's not get carried away. But
that's happening
Ronaldo
a lot.
Cuts in. Yeah, I don't think he has a skill. I don't think he has a skill like Ronaldo, so I can't compare him.
Yeah. I think that's tough. I think that regardless of Salvio's history, he's going to have to win that spot.
I think so too, especially after yet another long-term injury. You don't know what you're going to get back. Although this guy seems like a model professional and a beast of an athlete, so I would not be surprised if he comes back at the exact same level. But you never know.
Does Guedes have the touch to finish? Does he have the finishing touch? He's another guy.
So.
Honestly, I would think so, man.
I think he has the touch. I mean, we've seen him at a couple.
Finishing wise, for sure. I like you like to say Ginga, the 1v1 stuff. He doesn't have that, but in terms of just playing proper, simple football, good movement and good finishing, I see that, and I honestly, that's why I'd like to see him at 9.
I've softened my stance on him quite a bit here because he's played all right. I don't think he's been great. I don't think he deserves a call up to the national team. I know a lot of you think I'm crazy, but I don't think he deserves a call up to the national team. Now, Fernando Santos called him up because he's given a bunch of new guys an opportunity to just get a taste of it and get them to strive. Fine, I'm okay with that. But as far as on the field, I don't think he's been great. I don't think he deserves a call up based on his performances. But that being said, I'm softened on him because he is 18 years old or 19, whatever. He might have just turned 19, whatever it is. So I'm hoping he gets better. But I have seen sometimes where the simple play is there and he doesn't. A lot of times, that same control that you talk about, Steve, with Jimenez, where the ball bounces off, I'm putting it due to the fact he's 18 or 19, whatever it is. So I've softened a little bit, but I do see some things there that I'm hoping he gets better with age. And that's why I'm asking. I'm not asking because I don't think so or because I think so. Obviously, I'm asking because I'm not sure. You know what I mean? So does he have that finishing touch to be a 9?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or 11? That's why I know he'll bust his ass. He'll work his ass off because he does that. But the other thing that really surprised me, and call me dumb, you know, and it's okay. It won't be the first or the last. But I saw him side by side. After he scored his goal, Samaris comes and gives him a hug. And, dude, Samaris towers over him. I thought he was bigger.
Samaris is a big boy, though.
But I thought the other guy was bigger. You know what I mean? I thought Guedes was bigger.
Yeah, Cristiano, I think that, and I've read this twice now. One time said by Rui Vitória, and just recently or today said by Guedes himself, where Rui Vitória has asked him to play simple, but no inventar. And I think that he has improved.
I heard that was his advice.
He has improved on that lately, where he's looking more for the simple touch rather than to put his head down and to use his speed and dribble.
Well, when Guedes got called up to the Nationals, he did his press conference. They asked him, what advice did Rui Vitória give you? And he said, he told me no invents. That was his advice.
Yeah.
So yeah,
which is smart. Play simple. But I think he has a finishing touch. I mean, we've seen him, you know, quite a couple of spectacular finishes. One against Atletico Madrid, the other one against Tondela, if I'm not mistaken.
Boavista.
And the one against Boavista, I thought it was quite impressive.
It was.
Which one was the one that Jonas put him through, and with his right foot he put it in the upper 90 as the goalie was rushing out? It was Tondela.
That's Tondela too. Yeah. No. Honestly, the 3 goals, even the one that he scores from inside the box versus I can't remember who, where he just puts his laces through it, keeps it down, was a good finish.
It bounced off.
That was Atletico Madrid, I think.
No, the Atletico Madrid's a really good finish across
from the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a really good finish. No, of his 4 goals that I can think of right now, 3 are very good finishes, man. Very, very good.
I'm with you guys on that.
Man, I still think my boy has to get a run here at some time.
Shut up.
Man. I ain't even saying the guy's name.
We thought he was going to do it. Let's wait for
he made the bench. He made the bench against Galatasaray. I said, he's playing over the weekend. Not even on the bench.
Let's, I guess, Taça de Cerveja, because that's kind of appropriate for him.
Well, just follow Mal, man. All you guys still going to buy his jersey.
No.
No. Hey, Chris, here's something for you. It's the second match in a row that Carcel has come off the bench and has scored. Obviously, it does wonders for confidence. But do you see him right now as a starting starting role?
No, right now we've just talked about how well the kid's been playing. What's his name? Against, you know, you're not gonna take out Gaitan. I mean, where do you really play this guy? He's a winger, so really don't really have much room for him unless we see Rui Vitória do what he did against Aroca in Aveiro, which was take out Papo Seco and put him in a left back. But I heard that Nuno Santos is practicing at left back. I mean, they're going to convert everybody to left backs. I mean, right now there's really not many options.
There's Rebosho.
Yeah.
I don't even know who that is.
He's a captain from the B team,
and he's like an under 21 international to left back. Yeah.
At left back. Yeah. But the way we've seen it, we see Benfica convert strikers into right backs. We don't know what the hell is going on here. So listen, Carcela Gonzalez, which every time we see in the Champions League game, they call him by his last name, and I'm like, who the hell is that? We got a new player, and then I have to remind myself it's Carcela. He has a really beautiful touch. I like he's got a beautiful, sweet left foot. But you know, he scored goals when he gets his laces on him, man. The guy hits it perfect. There's just other games that he seems like he's like, I'm gonna go out here and get this paycheck, keep it moving. Just I don't know. I like to see a little bit more from him, but
well, he's going through his adaptation period, so that's okay.
Yeah, he is. But now you have the fact that Gaitan's playing. Obviously, Gaitan, dude. I don't even have to mention that guy's name. But you have Guedes, that he's picking up his game, okay? You have Salvio returning, and you know Salvio's going to play. Salvio, even on a bum knee, he's still going to play on this Benfica team because he's a good player. And so when he comes back, it's going to be even less of an opportunity for Carcela.
Yeah, you got Vitor Andrade on the fringe also.
He hasn't played in forever. I mean, you just have. Yeah, you don't think he will neither, huh? I mean, listen, they say Manchester City wants to get him for $4 million. Peace out. Yeah. Peace out. $4 million and we swap Emirates planes.
Here's one from I guess so Benfica convincing win over Boavista team that came to Estádio da Luz just to defend. So it's important to win these games, especially at Estádio da Luz, against teams that will close themselves off and bring the bus to play against Benfica. So good win for Benfica. We got to keep winning these home games as well as the away games. But now turning to the questions, and I'll read the first one. Is from Nelson. Our best defender currently, best midfielder, and best forward. I think that's pretty easy, straightforward. We'll probably all agree on this.
Pop circle.
For this.
Well, our best defender's hurt. He's the most impressive all year for me, at least.
I agree.
He's hurt. He's hurt.
We definitely went down a couple of notches without him.
Mm-hmm. He's hurt. Steve actually tweeted out a very good link today that gave us numbers. Well, not very good numbers, I should say, on the fullbacks for Benfica, Porto, and Sporting. Benfica have created a goal or assist. They've created 2 chances all year. A goal by Eliseu. No, assist by Eliseu. Yeah, goal by Semedo and assist by Eliseu. So yeah, these. But yeah, he's to me was the most impressive. And then midfielder Gaetan.
Yeah, for sure.
And Jonas.
Yeah. I think we're all on that.
I don't know. Steve got a crush for Samaris. Hold on, let him talk.
Yeah, it all depends on what you consider midfielders and attackers and whatnot. But I'd have to agree with what you're saying. If you're considering Gaetan more of a midfielder than an attacker or an attacking midfield, then sure. But
Rui Vitória is playing a 4-4-2.
Yeah.
So he's a midfielder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Neil also had a question in regards to the potential 8s, but I think we've beaten that dead horse to a pulp. Cristante, Sanchez, Juricic, Pizzi, Teixeira.
Who?
Teixeira, Pizzi.
Only one of those guys is actually on the team. The other ones are on the beach.
I mean, there's rumors that Cristante might be returning to Italy over the winter break, so we'll see.
I hope he does. Not because I don't like him. Not because I don't like him. It's because he's getting stale sitting on the bench or the beach or wherever the hell he's at.
Yeah.
You guys, those guys irrama. That's what happens.
Yeah. I think that Neil says if does Benfica go through with 10 points, I think the way the group is set up right now, Benfica will go with 10 points if they happen to get there. They might even go with 9 points.
Yeah.
Well, if Atletico wins the next game, Benfica could lose both games and still get through. So yes.
Yeah. Here's one from João Gomes, and João Gomes, the alarm will come up late today. Against the Lagartos, who should start? A tired Guedes from 2 Portugal games or a freshly reinvigorated Carcela?
Well, wait. Guedes must first play on the national team, which we don't know if he will or not. So that's a question that still be open.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one.
But let's just say Guedes does play, which I don't think he'll play a lot. Yeah, I think. What's this for the Taça da Cerveja anyway? What's this game for?
Taça de Portugal.
Oh, Taça de Portugal. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know.
You stumped Cristiano. Way to go, João.
No, because
it's all relative.
Yeah, it's very relative.
I would say Carcela, but then, man, that's why I stopped real quick. It's the fact that it's Sporting, and another loss to Sporting, that will totally, the confidence level will go, way low. So
yeah, we will have a chance to talk about Sporting next week, but it's all relative as to how much time Guedes is going to get. Obviously, I think our main concern with Guedes in the national team is that he doesn't come back hurt, just like Semedo came back hurt. On meaningless games, I should say. So it hurt us a lot to lose Semedo on a meaningless game for the national team. But we're hoping that Gedge doesn't come back hurt because he seems to have solidified a place on the right wing. Any of you guys see any changes at the Astana game, taking into consideration that it's a pitch that's a pitch that you could come out of with a lot of injuries, being it's an artificial pitch?
It would be a smart move.
Any squad management?
No, absolutely not, Steve. Stop with the smart move,
It would
Steve.
be a
For
smart
Christ's
move.
sake, put up more of the. There's nothing guaranteed yet. Number one, so you can't afford to go out there and lose. And then you have a very tough. Your very last game is against Atletico Madrid, so nothing is guaranteed yet, Steve. You have to go there with your strongest lineup. End of story.
Chris, if Silvio is currently your best right back, you do not play him up there because you're not going to come back with him. And I'll mark my words on that right now.
Stop with that. I play my best lineup. You know what?
Okay.
I need to get through the group. That's it. I need to get through. There is no. If it was guaranteed already, fine. But no. Nothing's guaranteed. You play your best lineup and hope to cross your fingers and hope to come out with everyone healthy.
Yeah, I think that Mighty Edgar agrees with you that a victory against the Kazakhs would be better. Definitely would be better.
Absolutely. You have to get. I mean, even if you come away with a draw, you have to put your best line because you cannot afford to come out of there with the loss. Now, obviously, Benfica will play earlier than Atletico Madrid and the other team because it's out there. The games are earlier. But even then, Benfica has to come away with minimum a point because if Galatasaray does shock everyone and beats Atletico Madrid, and then Astana goes to Galatasaray, which, say what you want, it's still a very tough atmosphere, a very tough place to play, and Atletico beats us, and Galatasaray beats Astana, guess what? Benfica's home. Well, not home, but at least not in the Champions League. So you have to put your best team, go out there, get at least a point.
Yeah, and Chris, if we clinch the round of 16, do we manage the squad against Atletico Madrid?
Yeah, well, it depends then. It also depends then because if Benfica comes out first, right? You're gonna play a second place team from the other group. So, like you said before, everything's relative. It depends on matchups. It all depends on what happens the next two games. But even then, if both teams win the next two games, you better suited to come out in first place than you are to come out as a second seed because you're more likely going to miss the big sharks.
Yeah, I agree. I would have to look at the schedule as a whole to see what Benfica has before that Atletico Madrid game and also after the Atletico Madrid game to see if there's going to be any squad management by Rui Vitória, regardless of the top seed, the first place or second place. So it's still a little bit far ahead in the horizon, so we'll worry about that when we get there.
There's a lot of money in Champions League. It helps you out. At least you hope to think it helps you out coming out first than it does second, dude. So very important game still. All depends on what happens in the next game, though. But
yeah. All right, I think that's about it. I think.
Let Steve go.
I'm here. I just don't agree with you. I think there's players that have a history with injuries. I wouldn't play Fesa on that pitch. I wouldn't play Silvio on that pitch.
I thought Fesa was hurt already.
But that's what I'm making a point.
Well, but Fesa is not an important part of the team right now.
But Silvio is at this point.
Hey Steve, we also don't want to be another Skanderbeo.
Oh jeez.
Here's the thing. Here's the question. Because
9 players. I'm saying.
Here's the question.
You have players with a history of poor injury records in the cold on artificial turf. You're asking for it. I wouldn't.
Espera aí. Who's a better option right now? André Almeida or Silva? Because André Almeida is not playing in the middle now, so he's very suitable to play right back.
Exactly. So that's why you're saving somebody that might be your best. For me, they're very similar. I would save Silvio if I think he's my best right back and is injury prone. That's what I was trying to get to.
I guess, but I guess to me, I play whatever, whether it's Silva or Almeida. That's what I'm playing. I'm not playing that whatever his name is from the B team. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there.
Yes, that's what I was. I mean, if they play Almeida, to me, it's the same thing. But now I wouldn't go give Lindelof his first start. That's what I was more trying to say.
So we are agreeing.
Yeah.
We're just agreeing to disagree.
Fine.
I think that it depends on the situation. It depends on the situation, but I think that we have guys on the wings that are waiting for a chance. Why not play them at Astana?
Because you can't give guys a chance here when you need a point. You need a point.
I understand.
Could you imagine you go there, you lose 1-0 because you gave guys a chance, right? And then Galatasaray does. Listen, it's 11-11, anything can happen. Galatasaray does beat Atletico Madrid. And then you lose to Atletico, Galatasaray beats Astana at home, and Latas do no Europa. You're going to say, God damn it, why did we give Carcela? Why did we give Tarap? Why did we give João Teixeira? Why could...
Even Tarap.
Yeah, even Tarap. But Tarap probably, if Tarap plays, they're definitely going to win. That's the difference. But you know what I'm saying, man? Games are important, man. And especially, this is not the Taça de Cerveja. If you don't advance, okay, you lose out on 150,000 euros. No, we're talking about millions of dollars that could really help this club. It's important, man. It's important. And plus, if you win a game in the Champions League, you get something like $1 million or 800,000, whatever it is, or 1.5. So it's a lot of money involved. Yeah, it's 1.5, and if you tie, it's half of that. It's a lot of money involved here, man. Don't think that these clubs don't pay attention to that. And this is a club that doesn't have a lot of money. And every penny in could help out the club. I think that you should go there with your best 11. Okay, if you got Almeida and Silva, there's some that'll tell you, Silva should sit on the bench anyway because Almeida's a better player. But that's what I was referring to. When I said no, Steve, about Silva, I'm talking about the Kleshu's of the world and stuff like that. No, you go out there, you play your best players.
All right. Well, we'll leave that discussion for when we play Astana. Next week, we have an international break. João Gomes is asking. We will most definitely have a podcast next week. I'm actually hoping to get a fan all-star podcast together, maybe about 9, 8 guys, so we could all have a lot of fun.
Me and Steve will sit out. You bring in Neil, because Neil needs another shot, because the guy just brings a lot of excitement and a lot of energy to the pod, so he's definitely got to be on. Timo, we got to get one of the females involved, or multiple females involved. Yeah. João Gomes got to go. If we get that JJ character that hits us up on Twitter, bring him on us, because that guy's awesome.
João Gomes would be nice if he could isolate his room so the people in the rest of the house can't hear him.
Opa, lá sabes tu se o gajo vive no monte. Tu não sabes. You know what I mean? He could be out there, the only house in the block. You don't know that, man.
No, but it's his family in the house. Everybody's sleeping. João Gomes is up messing around listening to us. All right, let's wrap.
I know Steve's looking forward to that one. Look, he's got quiet. He's saving his words for next week's pod.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. You have been listening to the Benfica Podcast. Talking to the Benfica Podcast. My name is Alfredo, Steve Santos, and Cristiano Oliveira, as always, bringing you all the latest discussion points in the Benfica world every Tuesday night for your listening and viewing pleasure. planetbenfica.co.uk, great guys, great supporters, Mod over there in their pod, benficapodcast.com, at Steve Santos 6, at 10CO10, at Benfica Podcast is where you can find us on Twitter. So check it out, spread the word, and next week we'll definitely be back, and some of you will get invites, so if you can make it, I would appreciate it. We'll try to get some of the ladies in here also.
If you don't get an invite, we still appreciate your cooperation and listening.
Yeah. I would really appreciate if somebody could get Stephanie on this podcast.
I give up.
I gave up. I can't do it.
I've tried everything I could.
Yeah, I can't do it. I never had such a hard time getting to a girl.
Eu nem digo nada.
Cristiano, I think you got the magic touch, dude.
Tu estás maluco, man.
Diz ela que...
maluco, man.
I don't digo nada, man. Listen, the way I look at it, I don't think nada, man. Think nada. The only thing I say is, if you listen, you want to be a part of this wonderful Benfica podcast, and you get an invitation, all you got to do is press accept or reject. If not, epa, só faz falta quem cá está.
Oh, quoting, who was that? Luis Felipe Vieira at the beginning of the year?
Alfredo says that shit all the time.
Hey, Cristiano, can you maybe throw in a foot massage to Stephanie? Massage your joanete?
I'm trying to get myself a foot massage.
All right, so next week we'll be back at the same regular time, and we'll have a full house next week. So I'm looking forward to that. Thanks,
Yo,
guys.
tweet this out, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, get us some more followers. Porto account got like 10,000 followers. This is embarrassing, Benfiquistas. Step up and do the right thing, all right?
Yeah. I don't even know how many followers we have.
1,100
Who cares?
or something.
1,100?
That's not enough. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Get this out there. Tweet it out. Every single one of you, not just Peggy. Everybody.
Anyone else want? You guys want to do any shout outs? Anything that you want to plug?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Patrick, who's currently in America, but he's out in the middle of Pennsylvania, and we can't get to him.
With the Amish.
Hopefully you got with the Amish. Hopefully you got internet signal out there, Patrick, and hopefully you're listening. Shout out.
Why isn't Patrick in New York, dude?
I don't know. That's a good question.
All right.
He's out in Amish town. They need him out there.
Stevie boy, you're friends with the wine book. Any news on that front?
They are trying to finish it off, and then they're going to put together a website that I should be able to plug. And
what is this? What, the wine book? What is this? How come I didn't hear about this?
Remember the cuisines, the cuisines of northern Portugal. I'll get back to you guys on that.
They're gonna send us some meals so we could test out here.
Yeah, we could try that.
Because that's usually how it goes. You know, companies, they send out their product and then we taste it. So Sagres, Superwalk, if you're listening, I never drank any of your products. I'll gladly taste them. Send them.
Well, we only drink Sagres.
Hi.
All right, everybody.
Walk better.
Ciao.
All right, everybody. See you. See you next week.
Arrivederci.
Peace in the testa.
Oh my God.
Later.
We only drink